Welcome back. It was in 1994 when the Atlanta Housing Authority would select, at the time, a little-known development company to transform Techwood and Clark Howell Homes, the nation's first housing project. The company succeeded. Techwood and Clark Howell would disappear. In its place, a new type of project. It began with a vision: improve the school. That's what development company the Integral Group sought to do, turning a poor-performing elementary school into one geared toward science and technology. It became the focal point for a new mixed-use, mixed-income community. Before long, the area began to prosper. Success poured outside the classrooms and inside the homes. And eventually, that community, Centennial Place, would become the template for urban revitalization projects nationwide. The Integral Group has since grown into a powerful development and investment management firm with a diverse portfolio of properties. It reportedly has invested more than $2 billion in 50 development projects. Egbert Perry is the chairman and CEO. His career and his philosophy behind building is the subject of today's Executive Profiles.
So we're going to go back to Antigua. Pronounced correctly.
Absolutely, that's the right pronunciation. Everybody wants to say Antigua, but you said it correctly.
We're going to correct all that as time goes on. We'll fix them all up.
Okay.
So you're number 9 of 11 children.
Well, you're right, number 9 of 11, and that's this generation, but my father was one of 13, his father was one of 16, so I have a couple hundred first cousins. So, and Antigua was home. It was a village concept, so you know, when you were at home, you felt like everybody was connected.
Let's begin at age 15. Talk about what happened and the scholarship you were offered.
I got a tremendous opportunity. In the Caribbean, if you're going to school beyond high school, you're leaving the island because it's too small to support a university system. So I got a break because I got a scholarship. I left with 2 years of high school to go, finished high school in New York, and then I was in the system and able to then go through a little more smoothly.
And you go to a elite school, University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Expansion bridges had your fascination.
Yeah. I was 10 years old, around 10, and I was looking through Britannica encyclopedias. And on Sundays, that's what we all did. We just got one and paged through. And I remember seeing the bridge and looked at it and asked my father, what profession did that? And he said, civil engineers. And so I said, okay, I'm going to be a civil engineer. That was it. And so I studied civil engineering. Still didn't know what it was until many years later in college, but you never know what drives you, so that was my charge.
So we now get our MBA, we're out of college. Where do you go from here? How do you migrate eventually to Atlanta?
When I was in grad school, I tutored calculus to a number of students. And one of those students was Herman Russell's daughter, Donata. She had gotten my resume from the faculty administrator's office, the faculty administrator for whom I tutored. Sent it to her father and said, you've got to try and hire this guy. And he called me. I wasn't interested because I was chasing my girlfriend who had left college, who had graduated and gone back to DC. And I turned Herman down, went to DC, was there for a while, for about a year, could see the glass ceiling and decided I didn't need to put up with it. So I called Herman a year later and asked if he was still interested in talking. He said yes, flew me down, offered me a job, and a few months later I started working at Russell. And he's the one who told me how he had gotten my resume and so on and so forth. But he gave me a tremendous opportunity. I think at 24, I joined the firm at 24. He gave me a chance to do a strategic plan for the company, which I did. And about 5 months later, 6 months later, I delivered the plan. And he said, okay, I like it. The company is yours to run. By then I had turned 25, but it still was 25. And I was president of the company. And I think the funniest thing about it, Ed, is I asked him for a job description, okay? You know, you go to business school and you learn all this stuff, but at the end of the day, you're
Gotta
still a
use
kid,
it.
right? Yeah, exactly. So I said, okay, so what's my job description? And he said, job description, you sure you want a job description? I said, yeah. He said, okay, here goes. You're president of the company, run the damn company, and make sure you don't lose any of my money or it's your ass. And that was my job description. And so I went with that. And I was there for 12 more years. So 13 years later, 13 years later, I had spent 13 years in total at Russell before starting Integral.
So you get the itch to start your own company.
Mm-hmm. Starting my own company was more a necessity to carry out what I wanted to do, which was transform communities. So the vision was poverty shouldn't be a crime. You shouldn't be sentenced just because you're poor. And so if you're poor, you should still be able to access a great education, great economic opportunity, and it's up to you what you do with it. And so I was determined to transform communities in a way where income was not the decider of opportunity. Naive, idealistic, I'm not sure. We got some things done, but it's a much bigger problem.
But it's consistent with who you are. I mean, you started that way.
Yeah.
You know, the redevelopment of Egbert, I think, is no different than the redevelopment of the General Motors plant. So what are you going to do with this, really, the biggest single redevelopment project in the last at least 25 years that I know of?
It's,
I mean, it's a monster.
Well, I always say...
Or an elephant.
It's an elephant, and you eat an elephant one bite at a time. The studio is right here. What we're going to do with it will be determined. We're excited about the early starts in the planning and visioning of the site. But at the end of the day, the market will tell us exactly what it's going to be. This is downtown Doraville. That's right. So what we've done is come in and we've taken this block and we're now repositioning this block as a main civic space, perhaps a school. And so it ends up being a place where the city comes together. Contextually, it's going to be a live, work, play environment. And we hope to get some other things done with it. If you talk about multimodal bones, it has better multimodal bones than probably any site anywhere in the region.
Beyond your redevelopment mindset, your community involvement and engagement is C-suite, top of the pyramid. How on earth do you have time to do and be involved with as many things as you're involved with is quite a testament to the man from Antigua.
Well, thank you. I would say, and I'm glad you said that, because what that means is there are a lot of great people inside of the Integral Group that show up every day and really run the company and make things work. And so I'd love to be able to say I did all that, but I'm not. They're doing the lifting.
Demolition at Assembly is in full swing. Bulldozers and excavators push, pull, and rip away at what's left of the buildings that once housed General Motors operations. All those heaps of scrap metal will be shipped by the tons to Alabama for recycling. The goal is to have the entire 165 acres cleared by the end of the year.